Hey guys, today on People Now, Oprah takes us inside her girls' school in South Africa in a People exclusive.
Fresh off 8 Oscar nominations for A Star is Born, we look at how Bradley Cooper is fully embracing fatherhood.
And we have an exclusive look at Bachelor couple Arie and Lauren's Hawaiian wedding and honeymoon.
Andy Cohen is getting ready for the most Housewives baby shower ever.
Plus,
I think it's probably a little bit of my own little mischievousness.
Riverdale lovers, get ready. Star Mason Amick is telling us why she loves playing troublemakers.
Live today on People Now. Let's go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to People Now. Here we go.
Hump day.
Hump day?
We'll get past it.
We're going to get past it. What better way to do that than to splurge on some brand new headphones? Listen to this. Louis Vuitton is debuting their own wireless headphones for the low price of $995, everybody. Below $1,000. Get yours today.
That is so much money. We'll have more details on these a little later in the show. First, we want to know, what do you think? Are these worth a splurge?
They look great.
They do look really nice. We'll vote in our People poll or just tweet us your answer with the hashtag.
Look at that, the dual tone thing.
Their designer.
Ooh, there we go.
Their designer.
The next status symbol, it's here. We'll check in on the results of what you think in that poll a little later, but for now, here's what you need to know and what's trending for today. Oprah Winfrey is opening up about her bond with the students at the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls on the outskirts of Johannesburg, South Africa, calling the school her greatest legacy. Now, in an exclusive new PeopleTV feature, Oprah even calls the students, quote, the daughters I did not have. Take a look at this.
They just started calling me Mom Oprah, which is really fine with me because I feel like they are my daughters. They're the daughters I did not have. This is how having children was supposed to manifest for me.
Wow, Oprah also reveals how an early scandal almost derailed the whole project, calling the day students from her school accused a staffer of abuse the greatest crisis that she ever faced in her life. Now, guys, stick around as we take a behind-the-scenes look at this exclusive feature later on in the show when People editor Mary Green, who went to South Africa to interview Oprah, joins us live. She's got all kinds of great details about that. Really incredible stuff. All right, in this week's issue of People, we go inside the private world of Bradley Cooper and his life as a dad. There's been a lot of changes in the actor's life this year. Obviously, he found huge success with The Star is Born. That continues to grow. He received a slew of award nominations for it, yet the biggest change has been his daughter, Leah. A source says after the birth of his first child, Bradley is like a changed person, fully embracing fatherhood. And the source reveals that Cooper and his longtime girlfriend, Irina Shayk, are very active with their daughter. And though the two have been keeping their private lives under wraps, that doesn't stop them from going on neighborhood walks, visiting farmers markets. We see the pictures of them playing on the beach, taking Leah to toddler classes, doing the whole thing. Though Shayk has reportedly been spotted wearing a giant emerald ring on her finger, for more than 2 years. The source says co-parenting is more important to them than planning a wedding. You are looking at exclusive photos of Arie Luyendyk Jr. and Lauren Burnham's Hawaiian honeymoon after their Maui wedding on January 12th. The Bachelor lovebirds relaxed at the Princeville Resort in Kauai for some rest and recovery. And don't worry, a little bit of fun for both of them. Luyendyk tells People this, quote, it's so exciting to picture our lives together from here on. It feels surreal and very cool. He adds, I love to do activities. Lauren loves to relax. We did a little bit of both, a mix of both on their honeymoon. In November, the couple confirmed to People that they are expecting their first child. According to posts on the Instagram handle Baby Luyendyk, the child is 21 weeks old, enjoying her time off in Hawaii as well. In the caption, Baby Luyendyk says via Instagram, Saturday, Mom and Dad got married. They were talking about me all night. I even heard them say nice things about me in their vows. She was listening. Selfishly, though, I'm glad the wedding is over because now the attention is back on me. I'm about 10 inches tall. I've been kicking a lot in here, making sure Mom knows I'm awake. Speaking for the baby there in the Instagram. We're going to talk more about that later. Stay tuned. We're going to be taking an exclusive in-depth look at their Maui wedding as well. We'll be joined by People West Coast news editor Eileen Nahas with insight. Lots of exclusive moments that you will only find here. And by the way, some really incredible video of the whole thing, the prep, the actual wedding itself, and all that.
The video is so gorgeous.
Yeah. Let's switch gears here, guys, to a more serious story. In this week's People cover story, we hear from Carrie Rawson. It's a woman who was stunned to learn that her beloved dad, Dennis Rader, was the BTK killer, as he's been known. That earth-shattering moment happened in 2005 when Rader was arrested for 10 murders that terrorized Carrie's hometown of Wichita, Kansas between 1974 and 1992. Now, Carrie was 26 years old at the time. Rader's murders, which began before Rawson was born, stood stood out for their savagery. He often bound his victims' arms and legs before slowly strangling them. Seeking notoriety, as his daughter phrases it, Rader contacted the Wichita Eagle after his 5th murder, claiming responsibility for some of his crimes and calling himself BTK, which stands for Bind, Torture, Kill. It's just an incredibly terrible story. At the home, though, while she was growing up, Rader to her was just dad, a father that Rawson describes as warm, comforting, fun, and supportive. She says, quote, "I knew someone who could be good and decent." And she adds, nobody wants to believe their father could be capable of such monstrous things. Rader's now 73 and serving the 175-year sentence that he received after pleading guilty to those murders. He writes a few times a year to his daughter, who refuses to visit him but does reply occasionally, limiting contact, she says, to protect her sanity. Now, about his unspeakable crimes, Rawson says, quote, "My father is a psychopath, but that doesn't mean that he's insane. He knows what he's done." She goes on to add, "There's a disconnect in his brain, and I don't think he understands how much grief, pain, and loss he's caused to these families and to ours." Now, Rawson says that she still loves him. She says she's actually forgiven him for what he did to their family, but not for what he did to the victims' families. Rawson, meanwhile, is now 40 years old. She's a stay-at-home wife and mom of 2 living outside Detroit. She says that she wrote her new book, A Serial Killer's Daughter, inspired by some advice from her therapist, who suggested that she write down everything churning inside of her. She did that. She says she just couldn't stop. And guys, for an exclusive excerpt from the book and more about how Carrie Rawson finally found peace, you can pick up a copy of this week's issue on newsstands Friday. It's such an incredible story in the way that she describes him as this entirely different, loving father compared to the monster he was secretly. That to me sticks out the most.
Yeah,
the dual
hearing
life.
all that is horrible, but
Yeah.
at least she's been able to kind of find some sort of peace within it all.
Yeah. And you've got more for us in Star Treks on a very, very different note.
Switching gears here, yes, we are kicking off Star Treks with one very happy, expecting couple. A glowing mom-to-be, Amy Schumer, stepped out on the town Tuesday night, showing off her bump and her hubby for a sweet theater date in New York City. The comedian, who's been suffering from bad morning sickness during her pregnancy, felt well enough to attend Colin Quinn's new one-man show, Red State, Blue State, with her husband, Chris Fisher. Now, Amy, who's in her 3rd trimester and expecting her first child, kept it simple but stylish for the show. She wore a dark green dress with a round neckline and black leggings. Comfy cute for the expecting mama. Her husband, Chris, went pretty casual too, rocking a black hoodie and tan jeans. Now, the couple was obviously there to support the man of the hour, Colin Quinn, who played Amy's dad in Trainwreck. The comedian also made an appearance in Amy's Comedy Central series Inside Amy Schumer. Amy announced her pregnancy back in October and has been dealing with hyperemesis gravidarum, a severe type of nausea and morning sickness during pregnancy. Now, the symptoms have left her feeling so unwell, she's had to cancel several of her stand-up tour dates. But after seeing a happy Amy out and about last night, and by the looks of her Instagram, the actress seems to be feeling a little bit better. Last week, Amy shared this photo on the gram of her on stage writing, "I'm feeling a little better and wanted to make up these dates that aren't too far from home. Can't wait to see you guys." She then dropped some Northeast tour dates that her fans are definitely excited for. Most importantly, we are glad our girl Amy is doing okay. All right, we all remember when Andy Cohen shocked everyone by announcing he was about to become a dad. Let's watch that moment back.
Tonight, I want you to be the first to know that after many years of careful deliberation, a fair amount of prayers, and the benefit of science, if all goes according to plan, in about 6 weeks' time, I am going to become a father.
I love how excited they are.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Now with only a few weeks left until Andy meets his baby boy, the baby shower is upon us. It's this weekend. And guess what else? The Housewives are coming, of course. Is that even surprising? No. Not really. Kyle Richards, along with the help of a few famous co-hosts, will throw the father to be a very Housewives baby shower. Richards tells people that the guest list is filled with mostly Real Housewives. She jokes by saying, quote, "Most men can barely handle one wife, and Andy has a lot of wives to deal with." So joining Richards to plan the big baby bash are Vicki Gunvalson, Ramona Singer, Nene Leakes, and Teresa Giudice. We know these girls know how to party, but hopefully they leave the drama behind. Now, Kyle says when Andy made the announcement, she could, quote, see in his face how happy and excited he is, going on to add she thinks he'll be a great dad. She hopes this shower is a special day that he will never forget. She says, quote, "We share so much of our lives with Andy, and I was touched when he shared this exciting news with us." And those are your Star Treks for today.
All right, guys, stay with us. Is Alex Trebek about to retire from Jeopardy? We've got brand new details. Plus, calling all Riverdale fans, Mecha Amick has given us the scoop on this season and her seemingly perfect character, who is anything but. Stay tuned for that. Well, guys, Arie Luyendyk Jr. and Lauren Burnham got married in Maui, Hawaii on January 12th, and People has exclusive footage from the wedding. Here to break down all the details from the big day is People's deputy West Coast news editor, Arie Nahas. Thanks for being here, Arie.
Hello. So, in the days leading up to their wedding, the duo had a bachelor-worthy date to get to know the island, which I think is kind of cool. So tell us a little bit about this excursion.
They did. They had a helicopter ride that was so glorious. It was the perfect way to see this beautiful surroundings where they were about to get married. And they actually joked that it did feel like a little bit like they were on a bachelor date, harkening back to where they met, which was pretty funny. But it was truly a great way to see the scenery. They knew that they wanted to get married in a place that was lush and tropical, but also had this very romantic feel to it. So Maui was just the perfect spot for that.
Yeah, and watching that video, it's even more like The Bachelor, right? Like
really
it was filmed really, really well. But so in lieu of this sort of typical rehearsal dinner, they decided to hit the ocean on a boat. Tell us about this.
They did. They had, yes, instead of kind of sitting around outside at a table the way that normal rehearsal dinners are, they actually took 40 people, their friends and family, the bridal party, out on a sunset catamaran, which was incredible. And the most amazing part was that just 50 yards from the boat, they actually saw whales, a big pod of whales, which was absolutely incredible, something you definitely can't plan. So Lauren and Arie were just thrilled to see that, and they kind of took it as like a good special omen for the weekend.
Look at
I mean,
that
can
footage.
you imagine? Is this real life?
By the way, Chris Harrison there as well, like just taking it all in.
Yeah, it's just like so beautiful. And what did the preparation for the big day look like for Lauren then?
So she was, there was a little bit of anxiety, but surprisingly, she actually told me she felt weirdly calm. She and Arie have been planning this wedding day in and day out for over a year, and they're just so ready to be married. They're about to welcome their baby girl this late spring. And so she had a great time. She was getting ready with her friends. They were all wearing matching kind of complimentary Hayley Page gowns. And Lauren, of course, was wearing a beautiful, painstakingly designed Hayley Page gown with beautiful embroidery and beadwork. And she just felt so lovely in it. And the coolest touch is that her garter, it was actually a piece of one of Arie's racing suits. Of course, Arie is a former professional race car driver. And there was a piece of one of his racing suits cut into a heart and put onto her garter, which was a really romantic touch that he just loved.
Again, also very Bachelor-like, right? Like that, a nice, thoughtful
touch. She
touch.
looks beautiful. That dress is stunning.
Yeah, it really is. All right, take us inside the preparation for Arie and how he was getting ready for the ceremony.
So Arie, same thing. He was pretty cool, pretty calm and collected. He did have a little bit of nerves, but he also had a great time. He was getting ready with his friends. He knew that he had made the right decision, and he just couldn't wait to meet Lauren. When he did see her coming down the aisle, though, it was very sweet. He got so emotional and choked up that he had to look down at the ground as she was walking up instead of actually up at her, because he was so filled with tears and overcome with emotion. So it was really sweet. But yeah, the day of, he had a great time. He was getting ready with the bridal party, and just counting the minutes till he could see Lauren walk down the aisle.
Yeah, now the ceremony itself looked absolutely beautiful. How did they make it special for themselves?
Mary, the venue itself was extremely unique. It was at the sugar mill, and it was basically, there's no walls, or there's 4 walls, but the top is actually made out of glass. So you feel like you're outside. The ceremony was in this sugar mill. There was beautiful foliage. There was actually an arch that was inspired by one that Lauren had seen in the Breaking Dawn Twilight movie. And she sent pictures to her planner. And because of that, they were able to design this arch that was filled with, covered with vines and flowers. It was absolutely beautiful. A really funny touch was that Lauren's grandmother and grandfather were actually the flower girl and ring bearer. And they just had the best time. They walked down the aisle. They were sprinkling rose petals. She said she got a little saucy. It was really funny. And then during the ceremony, Arie and Lauren wrote their own vows. They both got a little choked up, but it was really sweet. And everyone couldn't take their eyes off this beautiful couple. They've come a long way from the day that they met on The Bachelor. And it was really nice to see that they found their perfect happy ending.
I love that, and I love that some of the look was inspired by the Twilight movies.
I know, some
right?
Twilight inspo.
Maybe they snuck a line or two in the vows. We don't know. Tell us more about the reception.
So the reception was also in the Sugar Mill in a different place, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Long tables with green runners, lots of foliage, and also the menu was a little bit inspired by their Hawaiian surroundings. They had pineapple spring rolls. They had really, it was all natural, but also had this fairy tale element. So it really was this perfect combination of this romantic, but also earthy and natural. And the lighting, they brought in chandeliers. It was truly breathtaking. And all of the guests, including some Bachelor alumni like Sean and Catherine Lowe and a few of the girls from Arie and Lauren's season, were there to take this all in and really enjoy themselves.
All right, we have to talk about the cake. So it was gorgeous. So tell us a little bit about the cake.
Yes, it was 4 layers. It was a marble cake. There was some beautiful flowers on it, and it was absolutely delicious, according to the couple. They did exchange their first bite, but they said that they were gentle with each other. There was no cake smashing here. They wanted to still keep it pretty classy.
Man, it is just beautiful. That's incredible. Looks great. Arie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Can we just say, again, how great the quality of that video is?
No, it looks like a movie.
Right?
It's crazy.
And everything in slow motion makes it more romantic.
Yeah.
Automatically, right?
I'm actually really happy for them, though. I mean, they look very in love, both beautiful. It kind of comes after that rocky road with all the Bachelor drama.
My goodness, yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that it seems like they can have a somewhat normal wedding.
I think they kind of intentionally left the spotlight for a while. They must feel comfortable to do it now. They're really solid, seemingly. You know, fans hated them after that whole thing with Becca, saying that even maybe Lauren shouldn't be with Arie and do that to Becca. But now, okay, look, Becca became the next Bachelorette. She fell in love with Garrett.
I don't think she's going to be watching any of this stuff.
Yeah, will she ever comment on it?
I don't think she will. I think
Maybe
she's kind of moved on. They've obviously moved on. Their wedding was absolutely gorgeous. And don't forget, Lauren is pregnant. She's 21 weeks pregnant. You can't tell really with the dress. And the dress is beautiful. It's designed by Haley Page.
Yeah. So that baby, by the way, baby girl, Baby Luyendyk, has 175,000 followers on Instagram, which is really impressive. The captions are, we said it earlier, but they're as if the baby's talking, which I think is hilarious and could be a real good passive-aggressive tool as a parent later in life. Like, I just imagine, like, my kids now just like, oh, well, baby Parsons screamed all the way to school and wouldn't eat breakfast because they don't appreciate what mom and dad did for them.
Don't get ideas. It's kind of weird. I don't know. The last thing they posted was at 21 weeks old, Baby Luyendyk. She's telling us that she's 10 inches tall, size of a large banana.
Yeah, we did that. One of those apps that tells you every day, like, the difference in what's happening every week with the baby. So they're tracking along. And you can, too. Follow the Baby Luyendyk on Instagram. So she sent a picture of
really
the wedding.
It.
Yeah, let's do it. She sent a picture of the wedding. It was, like, in twilight. Looked amazing. Love how the family was oriented into the whole thing, especially the grandparents as Flower Girl and Ring Bear. That's a really nice personal touch.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
I thought that was really cool. I never even thought of doing that, but I think that's so, so sweet.
Yeah, another thing that I really loved in hearing their story and Arie talking about it is they wrote their own vows. I always think back to my wedding. If I had to do it over, I would write my own vows. That's just such a personal...
You would probably write a really good vow.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a nice compliment.
No, I've been to a few weddings where people write their own vows, and I think it's a really cool personal touch. So I like that they did that. I also really like the simplicity of the cake. The cake's kind of my favorite part, I think, of a wedding sometimes, because I don't know, who doesn't like cake, right? It was marble, decorated with flowers, some gold.
The worst thing is when people sacrifice flavor for design. Like, it looks amazing, and it's like, it tastes like cardboard.
Take the cake and freeze it for a year.
That's right, we did that.
I don't know if they did that.
I'm blown away by that. I don't know that that's necessary. Just eat the cake, right?
Anyway, we're very happy for them. Okay, we'll move on to this. So the 25th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards is coming up this weekend. We're going to be there. I'm super pumped for this. We're going to be there on the carpet for the official People Entertainment Weekly and TNT Red Carpet Live pre-show. Yeah, so make sure to tune in for that. All
right, we want to get you even more excited, guys. We're going to be doing some SAG trivia this week leading up to the big award show. Today's SAG trivia question of the day. Here we go.
What was Lady Gaga's first dream job? Was it A, actress, B, dancer, C, musician, or D, gymnast?
Drum roll, please. The answer is A, actress. Ding, ding, ding. Do you guys know it? Probably.
You guys know it?
Yeah, the crew?
I think
No?
a lot of people probably thought, what, musician, or that we were throwing them for a loop and did gymnast. I don't know.
Like it was kind of off the
I think it's
off the
really
rails.
cool, though, that now she has all this success as an actress because she wanted to do that before, like, singing, and she even was a musician. So I think it's this awesome full circle moment for her.
Yeah, you can tell through the press and the awards coverage of A Star is Born that she is really viewing it as a big moment, too. It means a lot to her. It's not just sort of going through the motions of publicity and all that kind of thing. Because, look, I mean, obviously, she's been in the biz a while.
Yeah.
She knows what it's like to go down a red carpet, but she seems to really be soaking it up.
When she was great in American Horror Story, but I think people still weren't taking her seriously, and she didn't feel like they were. And now with A Star is Born, I mean, I think everyone's taking her seriously.
Done and done.
Too.
Guys, we're going to have more SAG trivia tomorrow. You can stay tuned for that.
All right, what do you think when you hear this tune? I think everyone knows that.
That's right. It's Jeopardy's jingle.
Jeopardy.
We all know that, one of the most iconic theme songs ever. And host Alex Trebek is opening up in this week's issue of People about his home life, the rumors of retirement that we've heard, and life as, of course, the beloved and now iconic host of Jeopardy, and his wife, of course, as well, of 29 years.
I thought this was interesting. He will never consider himself famous. He considers himself to be a third-tier celebrity. He's just being humble.
Is he being humble
I
on purpose?
I don't know. He's not third tier. He's a household name.
I mean, he's not a movie star, but he's an icon. So there you go. He considers himself an extended family member since Jeopardy has become this family event over the years. That's how he kind of talks about it in this article. I watch it almost every day. It's become a habit. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it was
I'm
actually...
the 65-year-old man up here.
And it was debunked. So Trebek never actually considered leaving Jeopardy. He says he loves working 2 days a week, which I think everyone would.
There was that whole flurry
like that.
a few months back of him like, is he leaving? Is he not? Whatever.
I mean, why would you leave that job?
He says he gets frustrated. And by the way, I see this in his face sometimes. He gets frustrated when contestants don't know certain answers on Jeopardy.
As a Jeopardy super fan.
As a Jeopardy super fan, I can read his cues, his nonverbal cues. He also says this: women are sometimes smarter than men, but he claims they are worse at wagering.
Probably because it's an ingrained thing when you're raised to like not want to wager or ask for more. I think that's like an interesting little
Wow,
thing.
there's a lot to kind of.
No,
out of
it's
this.
true. You know, you're afraid to ask because you're not supposed to speak up. So I think it actually goes back. There's
you think women
deep ingrained thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think, we should continue to encourage women to speak up and wager.
Well, we are learning from this article of Alex Trebek is unbelievable.
It goes a lot deeper, Jeremy, than you'd think.
Clearly. So Alex tells the magazine that he wishes that he met his wife earlier. Here's the quote. He says, I was thinking about George and Barbara Bush when he died and how they'd had 73 years together. He said, I thought, oh gosh, I suppose if I'd met Jean in my 20s, we could have had a longer life together. He's 78 now, she's 54.
Really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we love him.
If you want to see more of him, check out Jeopardy every day. For us, it's like 7:30.
Yes.
7:30.
All right. Then you can watch with Jeremy. All right. So we've been telling you guys about the new Louis Vuitton luxury wireless headphones. Now the designer is set to release ultra luxe monogram set later this year.
Get this, they're a deal, a steal, under $1,000, $995.
That's a lot of money. I don't know. But they offer up to 3.5 hours of listening time on a single charge. The batteries kind of allow you to have 10 hours.
So here's where it really comes down to it. It's like, what are they compatible with? Well, they're compatible with Apple and Android devices, including Siri, Google Assistant software. They're also compatible with all Bluetooth devices. You have to have that if you're going to have it, right? Like, I'm immediately like, well, could I use it with my stuff? And guess what? I can. Now I just need $1,000.
Yeah, well, this may be Louis Vuitton's first pair of headphones. They actually previously launched tech with the Tambour Horizon smartwatch in 2017, so they're kind of breaking into the tech world here.
Is it worth it? If you
don't-
got the money, I think it's worth it. For me, I'm never allured by tech stuff. Like,
think it
I always
depends-
have a good phone and stuff, but I don't care to get like wireless.
Yeah,
ears.
I think it depends how much it catches on. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, like if all the celebrities are doing it and it's like the cool trend, then maybe.
Yeah.
But we've been asking you guys whether you would splurge on these headphones or not. So let's see our poll results.
Take a look here. No, I'd lose them anyway.
No, I lose my headphones all the time. So I wouldn't want these as a gift because I would be so afraid to lose them.
Maybe that's the next step here is what's the insurance, right? Like what kind of warranty do they have? Because if you lose that, you'd be scared to wear them anyway.
All right, well, keep letting us know in our People poll.
What the fudge? Nabisco.
Wow.
Nabisco just got in their famous Oreo and Nutter Butter cookies with chocolate fudge just in time for Valentine's Day. That looks amazing.
I mean, I believe if you add chocolate, it kind of makes everything better, right? Even
Yeah.
the cookies were already good before.
They were. What do you think of these new flavors, though? So we've seen Oreo obviously change things up with different flavors. There was the carrot cake Oreo, The mint filling
That's
is
always
top
good.
of my. I like that better than the original.
And
than
the double filling.
stuff, yeah.
Usually with Oreo, just the inside, the filling changes, but with the red velvet, it was actually the whole cookie that
Yeah.
changed. So they experiment a bunch.
They do it. They go all in there. Here are some of the more wild Oreo flavors that have happened throughout the years. We want to know what you guys think. Are you ready? Here we go. Fruit Punch, yay or nay? No, I say no.
That was
too.
available in the summer of 2017. I missed this one. I would have tried it. Okay, what do you think of watermelon? Yay or nay? I actually, look, I kind of like the watermelon.
That was in 2013. I think
It's
anything fruity is a
pretty
weird
cookie.
turn in my head. Okay, how about this? Cherry cola flavored, yay or nay? Yeah, a little more possible love for that.
That one actually came out after fans voted on it, so it must have been pretty popular.
Fans are in on it, then yeah.
All right, get ready for this one. Wasabi and hot chicken wing.
No, absolutely not.
They were introduced at the same time and together early 2018.
You gotta kind of stay in the lane. Here, this one I think could be good. Root beer float flavored.
Yay.
Not so bad there.
That's
Yeah.
probably the best of the ones that we've named, I think,
Yeah,
right?
I can see that. I can picture it.
So now, Nutter Butters, on the other hand, are usually that peanut shape, but for this, they're actually going to be coated. They're going to be round. They're coated in fudge, like the Oreo. Are you a Nutter Butter fan?
Honestly, anything peanut butter, I am
I
on
know.
board. Those are some of my favorite cookies. It's kind of, I guess this is kind of like dipping the cookie in the chocolate fountain before it's already done for you. I don't know. Is that
How
sort
do
of
you do your Oreos? We were talking before. I haven't had Oreos in a while. I feel so guilty when I eat Oreos.
Literally this weekend, one of my guilty pleasures now, I go to the store, I buy a package of the thin mint Oreos. I can
okay.
eat a whole sleeve by myself in minutes. It's remarkable, without milk even.
That's
So,
impressive, Jeremy.
I'm very proud of that. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this.
They just started calling me Mom Oprah, which is really, really fine with me because I feel like they are my daughters. They're the daughters I did not have. This is how having children was supposed to manifest for me. And I never thought that mothering instinct was something for me. I like babies, but I like them like, hi, baby. And I'll go over there. And I like children when they can actually speak to me and tell me what the problem is. And so 12 years old is really good for that. So getting them about 12 years old was actually perfect for me, that I became a mom of 12-year-olds. So they're just ripe for being led to the best parts of themselves.
That was a clip from an exclusive PeopleTV feature titled Oprah's Daughters. We're taking you inside the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls as Oprah shares with us her hopes and dreams for her students.
Joining us today is Mary Green, Entertainment Project's editor for People. She went to South Africa to visit the Academy and interview Oprah. Hello, Mary.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. Let's just start with this. A lot to get to, but you were actually a little tidbit. You were a little late for the show today for a very good reason, because Oprah
Called me.
called you.
Wow.
I guess, okay, we'll let you off the hook this time for being a little late. Tell us about the convo.
Yes, I was actually getting ready to come up here, and my phone rang, and by the way, it said the caller wasn't identified. And you know how usually you hit ignore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really glad.
Yeah, luckily.
I didn't hit ignore that time. And she said, Mary, it's Oprah. And immediately your ears start to buzz.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was so gracious, and
Having seen the new People TV exclusive and those types of things,
she
right?
watched the documentary and she read the piece in the magazine, and I was really impressed because it's pretty early
Yeah.
in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But she was just so kind, and felt that this would really help the girls.
Yeah, well, there's so much to be proud of here.
I can't imagine picking up a phone call from Oprah. That's so cool.
Like, who is this? You think it's a telemarketer. Anyway.
So let's talk about that clip we just saw. We heard Oprah say that the girls call her, Mom Oprah, Mom O, and this has some significance in African culture. I mean, what was her reaction to being called that?
Well, at first, she was really concerned because she didn't want anyone to feel like she was replacing their own parents in any way. But then they explained to her, in our culture, when someone helps you out and is a mentor, they either refer to you as sis or mom, right. And as she jokes, I'm of the age to be called mom. And the next rung up would be go-go, which is granny. So.
Okay. So she's happy to be a mom right in the middle there. Exactly. And one of the other things, as they're writing for People magazine, doing all of this, there's this sort of revelation that Oprah views these girls as the daughters she never had, right? And that's something you can really tell how much they mean to her, can you?
Absolutely. She has such an acute connection with them. She talks to, in fact, when we were interviewing the girls, that's actually when it became clearer. If they haven't talked to her in a while, she'll start following them on social media.
Oh, wow.
And then they'll get a text from her and says, "Oh, I see you have a new boyfriend."
Wow. So she gets really involved.
Yeah, like when are we gonna meet him?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's fun.
Absolutely. And they said that one of the scariest things is having to introduce their boyfriends to Stedman.
Wait, why is that? Is he an intimidating figure?
Yeah, he's like a father figure for a lot of the girls.
Yeah.
You know, many of the girls don't have strong father figures in their lives, so he very much will sit the young men down, question them, where you see yourself, what do what are your intentions here, blah, blah, blah.
That's intimidating.
That's what I was
anyone,
going to say,
especially-
coming into that. Ooh.
Exactly.
But Oprah opened up to you about the inspiration behind the Academy. What did she say?
Yeah, she said that in 2000, she actually went on vacation. She and Stedman went on vacation, and they spent 10 days with Nelson Mandela. And one day they were sitting around in his living room, as you do, and they started talking about how to solve the problem of poverty. And she, of course, has always been a big believer that education is the silver bullet for poverty. And she mentioned offhand, I would love one day to build a school. He jumped into action. He called the Minister of Education, said, okay, what can we do? Oprah's going to start a school. And so they started planning that very day.
So it becomes this sort of like, okay, now I'm in. And I loved in the article it said that Oprah was like, well, when it's Nelson Mandela, you don't bring him like a candle as a gift.
Yeah.
You build him a school.
Exactly.
Let's take a look here. Another clip. This time we are getting the perspective of one of the Academy's graduates. Watch this.
I think being at OLAG has been the most selfless experience for me. I think what Mom O has done was not only equip us or give us, she's given to our communities by giving to us. And I feel so privileged to be in a space where I can go back and not only inspire, but start to harvest and bring the change and double these kind of women and make more of them and introduce them to our communities and make it the norm that a black woman looks like this, that a black woman acts like this, and that a black woman works this hard. And I say this to Mom O every time, this experience and her spirit is godly. There's nothing like it, and I'm forever in debt to you.
That's really powerful stuff there, Mary. You got to meet a few more of the former students. They call the Academy OLAG. That's like the acronym,
Absolutely.
right? How was it talking to them? What was the vibe in terms of how much this really means to them?
It's remarkable when you step foot on campus. You realize, in a way, that you're seeing the future of not just of South Africa or of Africa, but you can see these young women making a difference around the world. Quite frankly, similar to the way that Oprah has.
Right.
There were girls who immediately, upon our arrival on campus, offered to take us on a tour, offered, to help us in any way. And in interviewing them, they're so smart. They're so charismatic. They already have a vision for what they'd like to do. Now, it's interesting, Tondo, who we just saw in the clip there, when she was interviewing with Oprah and she was in 7th grade, she said, I want to be an actress. And now her passion is journalism. But you can see how being driven by media and being comfortable in front of a camera, et cetera, really has helped her along. So I just think it'll be fascinating to see.
If she's just had some connection to get her into a job in journalism, Like
Yeah,
Oprah Winfrey,
only.
maybe, perhaps. I don't know.
I know.
I found this really fascinating. So the feature talks a lot about the contrast of the school. So, it's a great school, state-of-the-art facilities, but then a lot of these students are going back to areas that are ravaged by crime and HIV. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that dynamic.
It's fascinating that you step foot on this campus and it's bucolic. I mean, it's as beautiful as any campus in the United States, college or prep school. And everything is, they sleep on 200 thread count sheets. It's everything you expect. It's very modern, et cetera. And then you only need to drive 15 minutes and you see some of the most extreme poverty in the world. in fact, we went back to two of the townships, the hometowns, where a couple of the graduates live, and seeing where they grew up, one of the girls grew up in one half of a garage.
Wow.
All 9 members of their family lived in one half of a garage.
So they have these sort of dual lives, right? They're in this school, and it was even mentioned that they deal with survivor's guilt, right? That they have to go back to these places where they live, yet they're experiencing this sort of incredible life at the school. And then what is mentioned that Oprah said to deal with that, they have to do code switching. Tell me about the code switching idea, what that's all about.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll give you an example with Tondo, again, who we just saw. In her sophomore year at OLAG, she was in the middle of the school year, getting ready for a test, et cetera, and she received a phone call from her family that her mom had suddenly died.
Wow.
So immediately, she switched from the student at OLAG, where she was having fun with her friends, raced back home, and she was having to actually plan her own mother's funeral. Oh. And she was worried about her grandmother. And she became the instant caretaker for her family. And yet, then she had to go back to OLAG. Right. And when we interviewed her, in fact, she started to cry at the memory. She was sitting with her grandmother, and she said, I felt so guilty to be leaving you with this. The idea of losing a child for her grandmother, she thought would be unbearable, and I'm leaving you, and I'm going back to this amazing campus.
It's this heartbreaking
dilemma. It just shows
dilemma.
how strong she is too. So the Academy, it's a great success story, but there was early scandal that nearly derailed the project. So the doc gets into that. Let's take a look.
I was devastated. There were allegations of sexual abuse by one of the people here on campus, and I had done everything in my power. Barbed wire fences, guards at every dorm. All the guards are female guards to protect against any kind of harassment or assault or any kinds of problems. So then to find that it was allegedly within the ranks of the school and that it was not a male, but that it was a female alleged, was devastating to me. And I will tell you, that's one of the, I actually can't think of a greater crisis I've had in my life or career than the moment I heard that girls at the school are charging or have made the charges that they've been sexually assaulted. Also, I don't look at any experience without asking the question of what is this here to teach me? What is this? What can we all learn from that? And I remember breaking down crying in the moment, and it turned into a huge learning experience, not just for me and for the administration and for the board, but also for the girls.
So that's a big hurdle she had to get over. I mean, how open was Oprah in talking about this? Did she shy away from it at all?
No, I was surprised a little bit. One, it's been so many years. It's been 12 years since it happened. But also, she was very candid. And again, she said, look, through all of her years, I think, and years of experience, whenever she encountered any sort of controversy in all those years doing the Oprah show, she learned that the best way to handle anything is just to be transparent. Mm-hmm. And so she was very comfortable and spoke about this incident with a lot of wisdom. That time, I think the passage of time has helped, but really is unafraid to show that this is part of our journey. There were some bumps in the road. We didn't do everything perfectly. In fact, I thought it was interesting that she said, now in hindsight, while she doesn't regret anything, and obviously she couldn't be prouder of the school and her attachment to the girls, if she had to do this all over again, she would actually join forces with organizations that are already on the ground, that were already doing it. And I think that that's, in a way, you don't hear philanthropists say that very often. They're usually like, it's my way or the highway, I know better.
Yeah, well, and her honesty in that way is what makes her so able to continue to be so powerful and do great things in this way. Final thing before we let you go, looking back, most fun memory for you from filming with Oprah, quickly.
Definitely the moment when we didn't expect to go to Oprah's house. That footage you see there with Tondo on the stage was actually at her home. And we happened to run into her on the day of graduation, the day after we interviewed her. And she said, she's getting into a golf cart, and she said, "Why don't you come over for some punch and cookies?" And I turned around and I said, "Are you talking to us?" And she said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I think we can make that happen."
I think we can work that out.
How many minutes should we wait till we get there?
Cleared the schedule.
That's amazing.
It's a great story.
Well,
Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you for joining us, Mary
Thank
Green.
you.
You guys, you can watch the full episode of Oprah's Daughters now on PeopleTV.
Why are you dressed like that? Oh, is that what you wear when you go visit Dad?
Okay, I don't have time for your mad ranting, Betty. I'm prepping for an interview with RIVW. You know, it's been my lifelong dream to work for local broadcast news.
I went to see Dad to try and get my money back after you forged his signature.
Okay, Betty.
Dad said he was the one who murdered Principal Featherhead.
Well, that's impossible. Your father wasn't even there that night.
Uh-oh, is Alice Cooper up to no good again?
Yeah, we talked to Machen Amick about her role in the hit CW series Riverdale and why she loves playing troublemakers. Watch this.
Well, I mean, the first thought was, oh, do I want to play a parent on a kids show about Archie comics? And then I went in and I met with Roberto, and he pitched this such like a dark, twisted, layered character and compared Alice Cooper to Annette Bening's American Beauty character.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot more depth.
Depth,
Yeah, right.
and that she was coming off perfect on the surface, but just a hot mess underneath.
How do you describe Alice besides that?
Well, she's definitely having an identity crisis because she's been sort of hiding under this mask of the overbearing, perfect mother, you know, with the tweed and the jackets and the Spanx and everything. And then it was revealed that she's actually an ex-serpent. She's been living this lie the entire time. Now she's into a cult and slowly but surely getting lured into going away to the farm on the cult. I think it's probably a little bit of my own little mischievousness that comes into everything.
This is where you kind of let it out.
A little bit. Even with Shelley with Twin Peaks, she was kind of a very simplistic victim, sweet girl. But I think David and Mark recognized there was a little bit of like mischievous in me, so they started writing to that. So then, of course, Shelley was quite mischievous herself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not just a victim.
No,
She
right.
had a boyfriend on the side.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Machen might play troublemakers, but in reality, she is one very cool chick.
Yeah, we can't get enough of Riverdale's modern, retro, timeless vibe in that show. We had to ask, what is her favorite retro item on the Riverdale set? Watch.
All the cars. I'm a big vintage car geek. I have vintage cars myself, so you know, every once in a while I'm like, oh, a Chevelle, what year is that? 68. Oh, that's a good year. And of course, all the transpo guys are like, how do you know about a Chevelle 68?
Yeah. Wait, have you always been into cars?
Yeah,
The kind of the
yeah.
thing?
My very first car at 16 was a 1960 MGA.
Whoa.
So I'm this little girl in Reno driving around in my convertible, little tiny English car, and they just were like, "You're interesting."
Yeah, I'm the worst driver and haven't had a car in like 7 years, so I think it's really cool. She's a collector of vintage cars. Must be fun to look in her garage.
Yeah, speaking of throwbacks though, Machen revealed to us that she turned down a role years ago that ended up becoming this cultural icon. You won't believe this, take a look.
I did a show in '95 called Central Park West, and my character was then spun off. So Carrie Fairchild became Carrie Bradshaw.
Ooh.
Sex and the City. And
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Just
have you?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great show if you ever want to
cult
catch
following.
up on it. And I was actually offered the part, but it was a hard time for me because my kids were really young, and it was hard for me to even film Central Park West. And I was like, I can't do another hour show, so I turned it down.
Was it hard when that show blew up?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Thanks for bringing it up, guys. Thanks for bringing it up.
Not much. Like, I did watch it, but it was kind of hard. But it really, I absolutely handed to Sarah Jessica Parker because that was just her showpiece. She was brilliant in it. So I think that's why it was as great as it was.
All right, coming up tomorrow, Jada Pinkett Smith gets real about R. Kelly and Red Table Talk.
Plus, Jordan Fisher is talking rent on Fox. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later.
Bye, guys.